Steven Crowder went on quite the unhinged rant, telling his followers something we hear way too often from many in the conservative movement right now, which is you're losing your country. They're taking it away from you. And it's because of these horrible child sexual assaulters, the Democrats, right? That's what we hear so often from too many. And as I've talked about, and then we'll dive into this clip, the reason why this is an effective tool to attack the left with is because nothing makes people more hateful and angry and justified in negative actions than telling them the other side is coming for your kids. Nobody wants to hear that and will accept that. And so people get quite motivated, angry, and fearful when you use that. But it's so dangerous, and we'll break down a few of those specifics while we watch this.
Let's get away from the idea of a stolen election.
And let me start this over.
Let's get away from the idea of a stolen election, because of course you can't discuss that. Of course you can't say that intelligence agencies, mainstream media, and those at big tech colluded to try and alter the election. You can't say that. You can't say that the Hunter Biden story would have actually altered the outcome of the election, except for the fact that Biden voters themselves.
You can say it. You're just being criticized whenever you make claims that are dishonest. That's all that's happening. We can't say the election was stolen. Go ahead, say it, and I'll explain to you why it wasn't. Or the Hunter Biden story would have made Trump president. That story, while it was initially censored on Twitter, then got posted all over the place and got tons of attention. I remember because I was there, alive, before the election, and still Biden won. So pretending like that would have changed the election results is silly.
Said that it absolutely would. You can't argue, right? We can't argue that for some reason out there there are groomers. You're not allowed to talk about that because it's a term that's no longer.
Again, there are groomers. We should call those out. We should go after those people. It's just not an issue of the Democratic Party is pro-grooming. That's the dishonest part that we're calling out. You can say it again. You just might be incorrect about who you're throwing that label at, and you might be making a dangerous decision to do so. And then you'll see here, he lists off multiple things. Take a look. And the other bit too is we're saying stop calling every single LGBTQ person that you come across a groomer for simply being that identity. We're not saying that actual groomers shouldn't be called out and held accountable.
Allowed. Also, the term woman is no longer allowed. The term patriot is no longer allowed. But
what are you talking about, Stephen? Who is saying the word woman isn't allowed? The only discussion that's going on is, maybe these concepts, such as gender, should be not just explored, but also supported in people's exploration of these very complex identity realities that we interact with on a daily basis. But man and woman are topics the left is perfectly great with both saying, discussing, and understanding.
Donald Trump was removed. The Hunter Biden laptop story was removed. People who criticized Twitter's policy regarding child pornography were removed. People who were conservative were removed. I'm not talking about a stolen election, because I would never say that. Look, hey, you're now experiencing a stealing of your country. Let me put a fine point on it. Do you believe the United States is a country where those in power support sex with children? If not, there are enough people, not all of them, of course not, but there are enough people in positions of authority who think that that should be a part of the fabric of our country. Let's not talk about an election. You are having your country stolen from you. And to be clear, not talking about open borders, though I have a problem with that. I'm not talking about people coming on work visas. I am talking about people in positions of power who have decided that values that we have held since the beginning of the founding of this country, and by the way, all of Western civilization.
Okay, you get the point. I'm being taken away, yes. So, again, when he says people in power want to, however he worded it, but weave going after children to the fabric of our society, what he's trying to say is that the liberals are pushing for that. It's the Democratic Party. And what's so wild about this is I don't think it's a political issue, the issue of child sexual assault or grooming or anything like that. I think we all can unite around the idea that those issues should be dealt with and those people should be held accountable. But the conservative movement right now is obsessed with that idea that it's the left that's pro-grooming, when a really good video that we'll put in the description was put together by Midas Touch that's too long to watch for this segment, but it's 5+ minutes of just listing off all of the prominent Republicans who have been caught for, reported on to have had child pornography or child sexual assault, underage minors, all of these things. And even with that, I still won't use the tool of grooming as something to beat the Republican Party with. Instead, I want to talk about the policies we disagree on and all of this. But they use that as a tool nonstop, even though if you want to have a discussion about which party has more prominent members that have been caught with that type of crime, it is the Republican Party for sure. And so it's so dishonest, it's so enraging, because if you can convince your followers that the other side is just a bunch of groomers and pedophiles and all of that, your followers are going to feel very justified in doing some bad things to those people. And that's what scares me so much. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before any of the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get a full extra show every single Saturday, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley, and there's a link in the description.